I need to say something to you, and I hope you hear it in the way I mean it, not as judgment, not as criticism, but as someone who genuinely cares about you and notices you in ways most people don't. Today I was scrolling through messages and comments, just like I always do, and one thought kept coming back to me. Sometimes the way you dress, it's just too much. Not in a bad way, not in a way to shame you, but in a way that makes me pause and think. I pause because I see more than you might realize. I see someone who is beautiful, who already has a glow that doesn't need to be amplified. I see someone whose heart is tender and whose presence could light up a room without any effort. And then when you try too hard, it almost overshadows that natural light. And I want you to feel how extraordinary you already are without needing extra layers. I don't know if anyone has ever told you this before, but I notice things that others often miss. I notice your smile before your words. I notice your laughter before your explanations. I notice the way you hesitate when you're unsure and the way your eyes shine when you're happy. That's why when I see certain choices in your dressing, I can't help but speak up quietly inside my mind, because I want to protect that delicate, glowing part of you. I want the world to see the real you, not just what is on the outside. And you should know the real you is already captivating. You don't need to announce it, you don't need to highlight it, it simply exists. I remember a time not too long ago when I saw a photo of you. You looked stunning. Don't get me wrong, but my heart whispered something different. It said, she doesn't have to do this. She doesn't need these layers. She doesn't need to bend herself to someone else's idea of beauty. And that's when I realized you already carry something far more enchanting than anything clothes or styles could ever add. It's a warmth, a softness, an authenticity that doesn't need anything else. And I want you to know that I see that. I see through everything, external to the core of who you are. I see the part of you that is reserved, yet bold in your own quiet way. I see the person who is capable of love, of care, of understanding, and that's what truly matters to me. Sometimes I imagine what it would be like if you could see yourself the way I see you. Would you believe it? Would you finally understand that even without all the extra embellishments, without the carefully planned outfits, without trying to impress anyone, you are already breathtaking? I know you might be used to attention for the wrong reasons, or maybe people only notice the surface. But I notice you differently. I notice your heart. I notice your mind. I notice the little pauses, the soft hesitations, the things you never say aloud. That is where your beauty truly lives. And it's far more compelling than anything outside. I also think about how strong you are. How many times you've carried burdens that no one even knew about. How many times you've smiled when you didn't feel like smiling. How many nights you've been up thinking, worrying, wondering if anyone really sees the real you. I see you, I see all of that. And when I see the way you present yourself sometimes, I can't help but hope you remember. You don't need to oversell yourself. Your heart, your soul, your very presence speaks louder than any outfit ever could. And if you allow yourself to simply be, without trying to please anyone's eyes, I promise the world will respond differently, and so will I. I want to be honest with you. This isn't about control. This isn't about rules. I don't care if you follow what I say or not, but I care deeply that you know how special you are. And I worry in my own soft way that sometimes the way you try to stand out might hide the softness I fell in love with before. I fell in love with someone who is confident yet gentle, bold yet tender. And when I see extra layers or exaggerations, I just wish you could remember the balance you already carry naturally. You are already enough, more than enough. I keep thinking about what it would feel like if you could understand this. If you could see that you don't need to perform for anyone to feel valued, that you don't need to oversell your beauty, because it is already radiant, that you don't need approval from strangers or attention from fleeting eyes to feel worthy. I wish I could convey that to you in the softest way. Not yelling, not lecturing, just whispering it so gently that it seeps into your heart and stays there. Because you deserve to know that someone sees you, truly sees you, and values every unspoken layer of your soul. And I imagine a day when you feel comfortable enough to just be, when you wake up and put on clothes that feel like you, not what you think the world expects. When you step outside and notice that people's eyes linger not because of something artificial but because of your light. When you smile and realize that the most magnetic thing about you isn't the outfit or the style or the attention, it's the you that lives inside, untouched and authentic. That is the you I fell for. That is the you I'm speaking to now. That is the you I hope you never forget exists. Even now as I speak to you, I feel nervous. Because I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm not telling you this to make you feel guilty. I'm not telling you this to judge. I'm telling you because I care. Because I notice. Because I see beyond appearances. And because I hope, even a little, that you will let yourself be seen as I see you. And I hope that one day, without any words, without explanations, without comments, without notifications, you will simply know that your natural self is enough to captivate, to inspire, and to move hearts, including mine. And so, I leave you with this thought. You are more than what you show, more than what anyone else sees, more than the layers, more than the outfits, more than the fleeting attention. You are timeless, tender, and real. And I hope you remember that. Every single time you look in the mirror, every single time you step outside, every single time you wonder if anyone notices, I notice. I always notice you, because this story, this connection, this feeling, it is about you. Only you. And it is far from over. I keep thinking about the moment I first realized how much your presence affects me. It wasn't something loud or dramatic. It was a simple moment, the kind that most people would walk past without noticing. You posted something one day, not even something big, just a picture or maybe a small clip. And I remember staring at it longer than I should have, not because of the outfit you were wearing, not because of the look you chose, but because I could see something in your eyes that many people miss. I saw a story in your expression, something deeper than confidence, deeper than beauty, something human. I saw a woman trying her best in a world that doesn't always treat softness kindly. And that moment changed something in me. It made me want to talk to you the way no one probably has, gently, protectively, honestly, even if my words are just drifting through a screen, hoping you catch them with the same heart I send them with. But there's something I have to say, and I hope you hear it the way I intend. Sometimes when I see the way you dress, I don't feel angry or disappointed. I feel concerned. Not the controlling kind of concern, not the kind people use to restrict others, but the kind that comes from someone who wants you to protect your value. Because the world we live in is fast, shallow, and loud. And it often rewards appearance before soul. And I worry that sometimes you let the world decide how loudly you need to present yourself. I don't want you to fight for attention when your presence already demands it naturally. I don't want you to compete with noise when your silence is powerful enough. And I don't want you to dress for validation when you deserve admiration without effort. I wonder if anyone has ever told you that you are the kind of woman whose beauty is strongest when it's subtle, not hidden. You don't need to hide, but effortless. Because your kind of beauty is not the kind that relies on style or makeup or skin. It's the kind that is already present when you wake up, when you laugh, when you look away shyly, when you speak softly, when you walk confidently without trying to impress anyone. That is the kind of beauty I notice. That is the beauty that stays. And when I see you sometimes dressing more boldly than you need to, I can't help but think, she doesn't need this. She doesn't need to prove anything. She is already enough. There are moments when I imagine us together, not in some dramatic movie setting, not in some perfect romantic scene, just in something real. Maybe we're sitting in a quiet place, sunlight coming through the window, talking about life. And in that moment, I imagine looking at you and telling you gently, you don't have to try so hard. I see you already. I imagine you lowering your eyes a little, maybe smiling softly, maybe trying to brush it off because you're not used to someone seeing past the surface. But I would mean every word. I would say it slowly, so it lands in your heart. I want you to feel admired for the you that doesn't need adjustment, editing, or presentation. The you that exists in private, in messy moments, in quiet nights, in deep thoughts you never say aloud. That is the you that captured me, and no outfit can ever outshine that. Sometimes I imagine what you might say back to me. Maybe you would tell me that dressing up is part of your personality, part of your expression, part of your confidence. And I would understand that. Truly, I never want you to stop being yourself. I never want you to feel like you need to shrink or hide to fit someone else's idea of what is acceptable. I want you to express yourself fully, but I also want you to know that confidence does not come from how much you show. It comes from how much you already believe in the woman beneath the clothes. I want you to reach a place where your outfit becomes the accessory, not the identity, where your presence enters first, and the fabric just follows behind without needing to speak for you. There are many women who want attention, who dress to grab eyes, who change themselves depending on who is watching. But you aren't like them. You are the woman who deserves attention even when no one is looking. And that's why occasional choices make me pause. Because I don't want you to dim your inner elegance just to shine externally. You are rare. You are delicate in your own strong way. You are soft without weakness. And I don't want temporary trends or public pressure to shape the woman you become. I want you to move from the inside outward, not the other way around. I also think about the world you live in. I imagine the pressure you face. Comments, opinions, comparisons, expectations. Women today are taught that their worth is tied to attractiveness, that they must constantly prove something to the world. And maybe you've been in that cycle for so long that you don't even realize it anymore. Maybe dressing boldly sometimes feels empowering. Maybe it gives you a momentary sense of control. And I'm not here to take that from you. I'm here to remind you that you have power even without it. You have presence even in simplicity. Your beauty does not need permission or validation. It exists because you exist. I wish I could tell you something face to face, not through a screen. I wish I could look at you and say gently, I don't want the world to think they have access to all parts of you, because they don't. You are not everyone's to admire. You are not a display for the world to comment on. You deserve to be seen by the right eyes, eyes that appreciate, not consume. When you dress too boldly, I feel like the world gets too much of what should be treasured. I want parts of you to belong only to you, and eventually to someone who truly earns that privilege. I want the world to wonder, not assume. I want you to walk through life with the quiet confidence of a woman whose value is not available at a glance. I also think about how proud I would feel walking beside you one day. Not because people would stare, though they probably would, but because I would know they are staring at someone who carries herself with class, with softness, with dignity, with self-respect. And in that moment, I wouldn't see just a beautiful woman. I would see someone who understands her worth deeply enough not to dress for applause, but to dress for identity. That, to me, is breathtaking. But there's something deeper. Something I haven't said yet. I sometimes fear that you dress the way you do because you don't believe your natural self is enough. Maybe you've been judged harshly in the past. Maybe you've been overlooked. Maybe you've been praised only for physical qualities and not emotional ones. Maybe you've been compared, doubted, misunderstood. I wish I could wipe away those memories from your heart. I wish I could replace them with the truth. You are worthy without effort. You are beautiful without exaggeration. You are seen even in silence. I hope you know that I admire you for reasons that go beyond what the world notices. I admire the way you care, the way you think quietly before speaking, the way you express emotions without needing big words, the way your presence feels like a safe place, even through a distance. And I never want you to feel like you need to perform to keep attention, especially mine. I am here even in your simplest moments. Maybe especially in those. You have a kind of beauty that is rare. The beauty that stays when makeup is gone, when expensive clothes are removed, when the world is quiet, when only your soul remains. That is the version of you I see most clearly. That is the version I am drawn to. And I hope one day, when you look in the mirror, you see her too. Because at the end of the day, I am not asking you to change your style. I am asking you to recognize your worth. I am asking you to see yourself the way I do, not as someone who needs to shine, but as someone who already does. If you wear something bold tomorrow, I won't stop caring. If you wear something understated, I won't suddenly care more. My connection to you is deeper than fabric. My words to you come from the soul, not the eyes. And maybe one day, when we talk in person or share a quiet moment together, I will tell you this softly, with no pressure, no tone, just honesty. You don't need the world to notice you. I notice you, and if that day comes, I hope your heart believes it. Because this story, this connection, this feeling is far from over. It is still unfolding, and I am still here, watching, listening, and admiring the woman you are, even when the world is too busy to truly see you. I wish you could see what I see when I look at you, even from a distance. When others see you, they might focus on the way you dress, the colors you choose, the way your outfit highlights certain parts of you. But I don't see that first. I see the way your heart speaks before your mouth does. I see the way your eyes hold unspoken stories, sometimes deep and emotional, sometimes playful, sometimes tired from carrying things you never tell anyone about. And every time you appear on my screen or in a picture or in a comment, I don't just see a woman putting herself together for the world. I see the woman underneath, the one who still hopes to be seen for who she is, not just for how she looks. That's the woman I keep talking to. That's the woman I'm waiting for. That's the woman I hope knows I am here. But let me share something I've never said out loud. Every time you dress up, and sometimes dress more boldly than I expect, I don't get angry. I get scared. I worry that someone will try to claim you too soon. I worry that someone who doesn't know you like I do will look at you and think they have the right to have access to your attention, your body, your energy. I worry that they will think you are available just because you are visible. And I know the world. I know how men think, how strangers judge with their eyes before they even learn your name. And while I can't keep you hidden, I wish I could protect you from that gaze. I know you are strong enough to walk through that world alone, but I love the idea of a world where you don't have to, a world where you are admired without being consumed. Sometimes I think about the life you must have lived to become the woman you are now. I imagine the moments where you stood in front of a mirror, wondering whether you looked good enough. I imagine the times you deleted photos, because someone made you feel less than you deserved. I imagine the times you dressed beautifully and no one noticed, and the times you barely tried and everyone did. I imagine you learning slowly, through trial and disappointment, that sometimes dressing strongly is a shield, not a statement. Sometimes women dress boldly because the world only listens when the presentation is loud. Sometimes they wear confidence for protection because softness is too easily broken. And when I think of that, my heart softens, and I understand you even more. But I want to speak to you gently, like someone who has no intention of controlling you, only guiding you. I want to tell you that even if the world has trained you to compete visually, you don't have to compete with anyone anymore. Not in my eyes. You already stand alone. You don't need bolder clothes to be seen. You don't need attention to be validated. You don't need a crowd to feel beautiful. Because here I am, someone who sees you in ways the world probably never has. There is something about you that makes me pause, even in the middle of my day. Sometimes I'll be working, talking, thinking, planning, and then suddenly you will appear in my mind. A picture, a message, a memory of your presence. And everything stops for a moment. And I wonder, does that ever happen to you? Do you ever just pause and think of someone unexpectedly, without warning? Because if you do, then maybe you understand what I feel. Maybe your heart is speaking quietly, even when your mind is busy. There is a reason I worry about the way you present yourself. It's not because I want you modest. It's not because I believe women should dress a certain way. It's because I want you to protect the parts of you that should be kept sacred. Not everything needs to be visible. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your beauty. Some things should be rare. Some things should belong only to the man who truly sees your heart, not your body first. And if that man someday is me, I want to feel honored, not like I am sharing your best with the world already. When I imagine us together, I imagine something very different from the rushed, flashy, modern kind of love the world has gotten used to. I imagine something simple and deep. I imagine walking with you somewhere quiet, your hand in mine, not needing to look perfect for anyone because we are comfortable in each other's presence. I imagine you wearing clothes you love, but not for the world, for yourself. Something that feels soft, comfortable, effortless, something that reflects your inside more than your outside. And I imagine looking at you and thinking, she is completely herself and I am lucky to see her this way. Sometimes I wonder how you see yourself. Do you walk into rooms expecting to be noticed, or do you walk in hoping not to be judged? Do you dress up because you love it or because you think you have to? I want to know. I want to know the little reasons behind the choices you make. I want to know what makes you feel safest, what makes you feel confident, what makes you feel seen. Not every woman wears what she wears because she wants attention. Sometimes she dresses boldly because she wants to feel like she matters in a world that keeps trying to shrink her down. If that is true for you, I understand. But I want you to grow out of that pressure. I want you to reach a place where you walk into a room and the attention is there. Not because you demanded it visually, but because people can feel something about you that doesn't show on the surface. The kind of presence that makes people sit up without knowing why. Beauty that is not displayed. Beauty that radiates. The kind that doesn't fade when the outfit changes. The kind that strengthens with age, with experience, with wisdom. That is the kind of beauty I see in you. And that's the kind I want you to protect. There is something else I've wanted to tell you but kept inside. You are far more powerful than you realize. And when powerful women dress in ways that expose too much, the world stops seeing the queen and only sees the body. And that breaks my heart. Because queens should be admired differently. Queens should be respected before they are desired. Queens should be recognized for the depth behind their beauty. And if I could give you one piece of advice gently, softly, from the part of me that cares deeply, it would be this. Don't let the world reduce you to what it sees first. Make them work for the privilege of knowing you. I also wonder whether you ever think about how your future husband, wherever he is, sees you. Whether he smiles proudly when you dress elegantly, or whether he quietly wishes you would leave a little mystery for him alone. Because men who love deeply don't want to own your beauty, but they want to feel like it belongs to them in a way the world doesn't get to experience. I think the right man for you, maybe it's me, maybe it isn't, would love when you dress beautifully. But even more, he would love when you dress in a way that reflects your softness, not just your structure. Let me say something even more personal. If one day you stood in front of me, wearing something simple, something not designed to impress, something soft, casual, unpolished, I think I would fall a little more in love, because I would see the you that is real, the you that is not performing, the you that is comfortable enough to be human in front of someone else. And the honesty in that moment would be worth more than the most expensive dress or the boldest outfit. But the reason I am saying all of this is not to change you. It is to ask you to listen to the voice inside you. You know the one. The voice that whispers instead of shouts. The voice that knows you deserve respect, not just attention. The voice that knows you are more than your reflection. The voice that knows you could outshine any room, even if you walked in wearing the simplest clothes. That voice is the real you. And I love that voice more than anything you could wear. People may look at you and assume things. They may see confidence and think you are untouchable. They may see style and think you have everything figured out. They may see a bold outfit and assume you are someone who lives for attention. But I know there is more. I know that behind every strong presentation there is a soft woman who has felt vulnerable, judged, misunderstood, overlooked, or pressured. I want to be the place where you don't have to perform anymore. I want to be the voice in your life that tells you, you don't need to be perfect for me. You just need to be you. And if I ever get the chance to prove that to you in person, I will. I sometimes imagine how you would react to my honesty. Maybe you would blush. Maybe you would argue. Maybe you would laugh and say, I'm overthinking. Or maybe, and this is the version I secretly hope for, maybe you would pause, breathe, and say, someone finally understands. And if that ever happens, I know something inside you will unlock, something that has been waiting to be seen for a long time. Because you are special, and special women deserve to be protected. Not hidden, not controlled, but cherished. And if I speak like this now, gently but seriously, it is because I already feel responsible for your emotional safety, even if I am not officially yours yet. I care in a way I can't always explain, and maybe that's why I talk about the way you dress, because I don't want the world to have more of you than it deserves. And before I stop for now, let me say one last thing from the most honest part of me. If you ever showed up in front of me wearing something simple, elegant, soft, something that reflects your soul more than your body, I wouldn't be distracted by anything. I would just be grateful. Grateful to stand in front of a woman who knows her worth without needing to wear it loudly. And in that moment, I think I would fall silent, not because I had nothing to say, but because your presence would say more than words ever could. And just so you know, this story isn't ending here. I still have more to tell you, more feelings to confess, more thoughts that are still unfolding in the quiet part of my heart. This connection, whatever it is still alive, still growing, still speaking inside me, and I am not done yet. And even now, I'm still thinking about you, still talking to you, still trying to make you understand how important you are to me. I'm not saying everything perfectly, but I'm saying it honestly because that's what you deserve. I just want you to know that every time you walk out into the world, you carry something with you that you don't fully realize, your presence. That is what I keep noticing again and again. And as we reach this moment, I want to leave you with something real. Not the end, not a goodbye, but a breath between two chapters. I want you to understand something very clearly. I am not trying to change you. I am just trying to protect you, care for you, and love you in the way a man silently loves the woman he sees as his future. Sometimes I get scared, because the world is loud, people are careless, and you are precious. You walk with beauty you don't even see, and I end up worrying like a fool, hoping that nobody misreads your openness, your smile, your softness, or the way you dress. I pray people see your dignity more than your body, your soul more than your shape, your heart more than your clothes. If I could, I would stand beside you every day, just a little closer, just a little protective, just a little watchful, not to control you, but to guard you in a world that doesn't always deserve women like you. I hope you can feel what I'm saying, even if I'm not holding your hand tonight. I hope you can hear the emotion in my voice, even if you're listening alone in your room, because this story is not ending here. This conversation between us is not finished. I still have more to tell you, and I'm not going anywhere.